am really back. It's time to hit that like button and get this show really to cracking because now, Happy New Year to everybody out there. So, I had to bring the Happy New Year balloon right in effect to get this, and this is going to be the Happy New Year show. So, let's get this thing popping. This is me. I should talk like this, but I'm not. So, like we said on the MC Recovery and Relapse Show, let's see what new laws in the United States that's going to take effect. So, with further ado, let me get that thing that I once did. This right here, that graphic up here, breaking news. And I put the screen around in the mirror way. So, we're going to start with this one first.
Will most likely impact you. Scripps News investigative correspondent Patrick Terpstra is with us now from our Washington, D.C. bureau. And Patrick, thousands of laws change every year when the calendar flips. So you've been looking into some of the big ones to watch out for. What do we need to note?
Hey, Holly, and a very happy new year to you. So some of the big issues this year, AI, as well as alcohol, a huge range of issues, also including affordability, something we've been talking about all year, as well as cost of living. A lot of state lawmakers this year signing laws designed to make life a little bit easier when it comes to your wallets and pocketbooks, especially.
First of all, check it out on YouTube so I can get much more credit. The Facebook algorithm, I got to do some more tweaking up in there. So here's some more about the new law. So we're just going to go over that. Happy New Year, everybody. Rules changes, impact minimum wage, AI laws, climate change. Now, that's interesting, climate change, but
with regard to the minimum wage, a total of 20 states are taking their own steps to raise the minimum wage beginning on January 1st. And as you look at the map, you can see we're talking about states all across the country. Washington State there, now the first state to go above $17 an hour in minimum wage, $17.13. A big reason for that is because they tie their minimum wage increase to inflation. We mentioned AI, artificial intelligence, another one of these huge issues we've been talking about all year. New concerns about privacy as well as transparency for consumers, and provisions requiring opting out capability for people that don't want their data and information included in these types of programs, but at the same time trying to make it more accessible and more accurate, and trying to have laws that talk about not having discrimination when it comes to artificial intelligence. So a huge number of laws relating to artificial intelligence, but one law standing out that is looking at climate change and the effects of climate change, talking about Hawaii. You'll recall the Lahaina wildfires devastating there, dozens of deaths there. The state lawmakers there have now created the first in the nation rule that actually will increase what they call a green fee for tourists staying at hotels or private properties.
Now, what is that? What is that? A green fee for tourists? Staying at a hotel?
There costs that will allow them to pay for things like renourishing beaches after significant erosion events, but also paying to clean up and prevent wildfires, just among the many different laws that go into effect when the clock strikes midnight. Holly.
A few other notable ones. One that stood out to my producer, Shari, making changes when it comes to DUI enforcement. So tell us about those changes.
Absolutely. A number of states trying to ramp up possible penalties for DUI crashes. Talking about Nevada, a lot of us associate, of course, Nevada with Las Vegas, and where there is a drinking culture there. If you end up in a DUI crash that is fatal, there are much stricter penalties that you will face.
Ooh, but I wonder why he's not. Didn't they say something about cost of living? A lot of people ain't. Man, we need to hear some more about the cost of living. So feel free to go over there and check out Scripps News. They may have some more update. Man, but I want to see something that has something to do with the cost of living. I know y'all would too. So let's check out, that's the cost of living. Now we're going to look at some of the Carl DeMarco of Reform California. Now, he be having some stuff, and his is interesting. So let's check this one out. Fair use to Carl DeMarco, Reform California. He's going to have always a page that you can sign up for. He's right there. But he called it the worst new law. See? His page is right there. He called it the worst new law. So we're going to see what he's talking about. All right.
Looking for an easier way to get that LLC next to your business name? Say hello to Taylor Brands. Just go to their site, enter your LLC.
I'm Carl DeMaio, chairman of Reform California, and bad new laws that they've got to comply with. And you'll find first new laws taking effect on January 1st, that you do something about it, that you join Reform California in fighting to elect better state legislators. Go onto our website here, reformcalifornia.org. That's reformcalifornia.org. And you'll find not only the story I'm about to share with you about the new laws, you can share that with your friends and family so that they are on notice of bad new laws that they've got to comply with, but also sign up to be part of our growing movement statewide to elect better leaders to the state legislature so that we can reverse some of these bad laws and pass some good ones. Go to the bottom of the website, put in your first name, last name, email, phone, and zip code, and you will be tethered into our growing movement statewide to
So
take
I'm
back
speed it up
California
just
from
to
the
hurry up and
insanity
get
of
to
the
the
far
point
left
of things.
and to stop these bad laws that we're about to talk about. Also, please chip in a contribution because we can't do the work that we're doing, whether it's bringing you this podcast or recruiting, endorsing, training, and supporting better candidates for state assembly or state senate. We can't do any of that work without your help. So please chip in a contribution if you can. With that, let's get right into the new laws taking effect in 2026. In fact, there are more than 800 new laws taking effect January 1st. A handful of them.
Did he say 800? No. Let's hear this one more time.
In 2026. In fact, there are more than 800 new laws taking effect January 1st. A handful of them will be implemented July 1st, but most of them are January 1st. Let's start out with only one good law. Now, there's a couple good laws, but the one that I think is the most significant is actually one that Democrats voted down the first round it was put on the floor. That is AB 379. It makes it a felony to purchase 16 or 17-year-old minors for you know what. Democrats, with the exception of one legislator, Maggie Crow, who actually, to her credit, authored AB 379, Democrats unanimously killed this bill, voted against it. Who votes against making it a crime to purchase minors? It's insane. Democrats do. But we created public outcry. And within 7 days of them killing the bill, we forced the bill back on the floor. And guess what? Public outcry worked, and we got a unanimous vote in favor of AB 379. So as of January.
So, AB 79, y'all know, now a lot of people in LA know what it means when you're talking about minors. Purchasing the minor. Hey, they didn't call it an adoption bill. That's more like, shoot, you can go on PCH Highway, Figueroa, anywhere in your community where you got the scroll going on. That's what they talk about, the scroll on, and some simping and stuff. So that's what they can talk about. They ain't talking about just, hey, we're going to adopt runaways. Look up that bill.
January 1, that's right. We will now see a felony charge brought against anyone who tries to buy a 16 or 17-year-old minor.
Woo!
That's about all the good I have to share today. Let's talk about the bad and the ugly. First, the minimum wage is going to increase. That's under SB 3. It goes up to nearly $17 an hour. But remember, there's going to be even more minimum wage increases taking effect in your locality as of January 1st, depending upon where you live or the type of industry the job is located in. Minimum wage seems like a good idea, but it actually destroys jobs and increases our cost of living.
See, and that's the part I hate. Increases our cost of living. Now, minimum wage go up, but even if it haven't went up, the cost of living has went up. Screamingly up. So if the minimum wage is $20, and if you take your calculator and calculate some things, let's say 20 times 8, all right, You're making $20 an hour, $160 a day. All right? And for 5 days. And most of the time, they don't even want you to work full time. So that's like $2,000, $3,000 a month, or $4,000 a month. Let's say if you is working full time. So if you around 45,000 or 46,000 a month, the rent is 2,000 or 2,300 for a 1 bedroom. And then you got about food, utilities, and all of that. So the cost of living needs a dramatic change in my book. So let's just listen to it.
There's no free lunch. Democrats want people to think they care about the working poor, but in fact, their policies penalize everyone. How about job-killing laws? A number of bad laws were implemented, including AB 692 to discourage employers from investing in job training, SB 642 to force employers to show so-called pay equity, which basically means employers aren't going to be able to award different salaries based on merit or competitiveness or markets. They also increased the payroll taxes in the state budget, different salaries based on merit or competitiveness or markets. They also increased the payroll taxes in the state budget because Newsom allowed $30 billion of fraudulent payments under the unemployment insurance program. A lot more regulations are hitting businesses this year than ever before, and that's why California has a 28% higher unemployment rate than the rest of the nation, destroying jobs. That's about the best thing that Newsom can point to in terms of what he's good at. Higher taxes. AB 1207 imposes another extension. AB 1207 imposes a best thing that Newsom can point to in terms of what he's good at. Higher taxes. AB 1207 imposes another extension for the costly cap and trade carbon tax program, extending it all the way out to 2046, adds about 43 cents to your price of your gallon of gas at the pump. How about time off for crime victims? This might seem good, but why should we have more crime victims? Democrats have protected criminals, and now what they're saying is, well, we care about crime victims. We'll give them, at the expense of employers, mandatory time off to grieve, to recover from their crime. How about we just prevent them from becoming crime victims in the first place? How about AI and technology? This is the goose that laid the golden egg. We're seeing a major industry in California, the innovation economy, technology, artificial intelligence, get sucker punched by state politicians trying to overly impose costs and regulations on them. I'm not saying that AI is perfect, but the last group of people I would trust to regulate AI, California liberal politicians. And there's a new law, SB 53, kicking in along with others to regulate AI and innovation companies. How about putting children at risk? AB 495 lets strangers assume custody of children without parental consent.
Now that's a,
Or putting
now that's a deep one.
assume custody of children without parental consent,
Like
along
that.
with others to regulate AI and innovation companies. How about putting children at risk? AB 495 lets strangers
495.
assume custody of children without parental consent. Or putting police at risk. SB 627 makes it a crime for officers to shield their identity because politicians want to dox them and have them targeted by these fringe left-wing violent groups.
Meaning
Oh, but
vigilantes.
politicians will get some money from your tax dollars in the form of SB 155, creating a slush fund for Governor Newsom to prop up left-wing liberal newspapers.
Uh-oh.
It can also count on your tax
What?
dollars going to tax.
See, they're not bragging about these new laws. See, they ain't calling it a slush fund. They may be calling it a new media outlet so you can be more informed with what the Blue Party and concerns for your state is. Oh yeah, it's gonna be dressed up pretty, y'all. It's gonna be dressed up real pretty.
To fund racism, SB 519 sets up a new reparations program in the state of California.
Oh yeah, boy. They
This
know
week,
people
we're
love
hosting a free
talking
trading
about
and
that.
investing workshop
They know
right
we
here in
love
Irvine.
talking about that.
Inside this
Go to creating a slush fund for Governor Newsom to prop up left-wing violent groups. Oh, but
Yeah.
politicians will get some money from your tax dollars in the form of SB 155, creating
SB 155. Y'all need to write that one down. Let's see what that is all about. SB 155 is
a slush fund for Governor Newsom to prop up left-wing liberal newspapers. You can also count on your tax dollars going to fund racism. SB 519 sets up a new
SB 519. So that's like something for the BLM or anybody that feel like an attack. Like the previous video I did earlier today, they can go to this and say it's racism. And then they will have people that look like Carl DeMarco supporting it. Ain't that something? Supporting it because it's, hey,
reparations
funding.
Program in the state of California. Reparations program in the state of California.
Reparations.
Go to the store, it's going to be less convenient and more expensive. They're banning all plastic bags. The last plastic bag ban had no good impact on the environment, but caused you less convenience and higher costs. Now they just got rid of all the plastic bags. You get paper bags, at a price. There goes the neighborhood. SB 79 lets developers bulldoze single-family neighborhoods and single-family plots to build massive 6- and 7-story high condo towers. Oh, and local control, it's overridden. You cannot stop it.
See?
And finally,
we've been seeing a lot of that. We see it, and then you would think it's going to a lot of the homelessness, like back in the day when it used to be auditors right on deck, saying 10% of that's supposed to show proof that a low-income individual or a homeless individual is working itself well on wellness and recovery, and having this bed done to start their life over. But what it looks like, what we're hearing, that is a revolving door, and people do not want to straighten up their lives, and they can't make it to the next journey for the cost of living of finding an adequate job or occupation to keep this place. That's what's been really going on. 2 days, I'm going to be 19 years, I'm telling you. 19 years. 19 years of working around in this sector.
No tax on tips except in California. President Trump, to his credit, enacts an elimination of the federal tax on tips and overtime. But here in California, Democrats and Newsom killed our bill to apply the same tax-exempt status to tips. You will pay a state tax on your tips while still getting some tax savings from Trump at the federal level on tips.
Woo! We
There's
know how to get
bad
that money out here, boy. So feel free to go over there and check out the rest of this screen, because he be like cooking. And he shows paperwork. So he do show paperwork and documentation of what he just spoke about. I showed it on a previous stream a couple of months ago. So, hey, I hope y'all have hit that like button by now. And y'all on my YouTube show to make sure I get the credit. So sign into your YouTube show, hit that like button, pay attention to the commercial, and let's see if we can find some more that's on deck. Oh yeah, it's time to look at this one. This is one I was like curious of. But no one don't want to talk about the cost of living. What? This one, that's Script News. Oh, all right, we did that. Let's see what this girl is talking about.
Are you having trouble trying to keep up?
Because her page, this is WFAA. It say 111 million impacted, new laws.
New year, new laws. In a bunch of states, it's a new rules change come January 1st. What you pay at the checkout, what your kid can sign up for online, and what gets sold legally can shift overnight. Here are the biggest changes in 2026, state by state, and what they mean for you. If you live in California, say goodbye to plastic shopping bags at the store. Starting in 2026, they are banned statewide. If you forget your reusable bags, you are probably buying paper at checkout. California is also cracking down on companion chatbots. The law pushes companies to add safeguards when bots interact with minors or when a user is expressing suicidal thoughts. It also creates legal risks for companies if required protections are not in place. Georgia's new tort reform package is a big one. SB 69 tightens rules around third-party litigation funding. For most people, you will not feel this day to day, but it can change how lawsuits get financed and how businesses and insurers think about risk. Tennessee is putting new guardrails around teens on social media. Platforms will need parental consent before minors can create accounts. Expect more age checks and more complicated sign-up process. Tennessee is also tightening rules around hemp-derived cannabinoid products. The law targets higher THC products, shifts oversight to the Alcohol Beverage Commission, raises purchase age to 21, and bans online sales and shipping. In Texas, a new law requires certain sheriffs to work with ICE through the federal 287G program. The state also sets up funding tied to participation. Supporters say it strengthens enforcement, but critics say that it raises concerns around costs and civil rights. Texas is also putting statewide limits on certain uses of AI. The law sets boundaries that include tools tied to self-harm, crime, unlawful discrimination, or certain sexual content. In Virginia, the minimum wage goes up to $12.77 an hour. Those that are paid at or near the minimum wage will see this show up right away in their paycheck. Virginia is also adding daily social media limits for kids under 16. Platforms will have to cap use at 1 hour per service day, unless a parent provides verified consent. Illinois is taking aim at squatters. The new law is designed to make it easier for law enforcement to remove people who are illegally staying in a home without forcing owners into a long civil eviction process. Illinois is also requiring paid break time for nursing mothers to pump breast milk for up to a year after a child is born. Bottom line, January 1st.
Wow, ain't that something? Bottom line, I mean, getting paid break. I know that's not for like a whole year. Breast milk feeding. Now, right out here, I think you can do it in an exclusionary way when it comes to the breast milk feeding. But what y'all think about that AI? See, they haven't even showed that part about where they safeguards on AI. I seen a video of that where you got to put not a thumbnail, but something in front of it. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go back up here to where I seen some of that. And let me see. Let's see how we will be affected as drivers. No, let me find one where I try to get something that's way off and away from everybody that's doing news. Because let's look at the this one. Ready? This gonna trip you out.
Governor have approved.
Now from the new year, and with it, new laws.
Yes, state lawmakers and the governor have approved more than 900 new laws starting next year. Here are a few notable ones. Starting January 1st, Senate Bill 40 will require large health insurers regulated by the state to cap insulin copays to $35 for a 30-day supply. The same requirements will kick in for individual and small group health plans for the year 2027.
Under SB 627, local and federal officers will be prohibited from wearing masks masks to conceal their identities. This measure is targeted at Customs and Border Protection agents and Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents. The bill is being challenged in court, and the Trump administration has said federal officials don't have to follow state law on this.
And under another law, landlords will be required to provide working stoves and refrigerators in their rental apartments. That bill will have a big effect in Los Angeles, where it's not uncommon for landlords to require that tenants bring in their own refrigerators.
Cat owners will be prohibited from having their cats declawed. That practice is now widely considered inhumane, as it involves removing parts of a cat's toe bones to prevent them from scratching.
And grocery stores.
Yeah, so we heard of some of those. All right, so we heard of a lot of those. All right, so let's go over here. And let's do this. Now, what is this guy talking about? This is Illinois. Right, let's look at Illinois.
There's not enough time to understand it, and they don't even read all of it, so you have to wonder if they really know the consequences of what they're voting on.
Now at 5:30, most people are excited to welcome 2020.
Night, including legislation expanding rights for sexual assault victims, with another law requiring insurance companies to cover brand name drugs when generics are unavailable. End-of-life decisions addressed in a new 2026 law, Senate Bill 1950, making Illinois the first state in the Midwest to allow qualified terminally ill patients to request life-ending medication. The widespread problem of squatters adversely impacting landlords and homeowners across our viewing area, House Bill 1563, with support from Governor J.B. Pritzker and legislators untying the hands of law enforcement to take action. We are responding to constituents who have had trouble with squatters, says State Senator Lakeisha Collins, squatters who could not be removed without an eviction. There
go Keisha. There go Keisha. That's what they say, huh? Ain't that something? Boy. And then, hey, we just can't make it up. That's what a lot of my YouTube friends say, can't make this up.
Will simplify the process. Legislators voting to make the soybean the state's official bean, Illinois the largest producer in the country. Speaking of food, there's a new law in 2026 impacting your grocery bill. The Illinois General Assembly eliminating the statewide 1% grocery tax.
To put that in real dollars, a family of four would save about $130 a year in groceries with that reduction.
Dylan Sharkey with the Illinois Policy Institute says there could be unintended issues because about half of Illinois' municipalities reinstated their own 1% grocery tax.
And it's going to create a new dynamic where if you want to avoid the grocery tax, you might only need to go one town over.
Illinois Senate Bill 8 strengthening requirements for firearms to be secured in locked containers so children can't access them. The bill also requiring gun owners to report a stolen firearm that was stolen within 48 hours instead of 72. Another 2026 law requiring employers to provide paid breaks for nursing mothers to pump breast milk, and Senate Bill 1507 requiring UIC engineers to do safety reviews of traffic on DuSable Lakeshore Drive, including crash data and potential AI camera implementation.
Wow. Well, y'all know, so let's look and see if we can check out some more of these California laws. That's what I'm going to do. Now we're going to go back to some of those because, man, there's some more that's on that. Look at 800 of them earlier. Do you know what I mean? Like, This has to be ridiculous. And real ridiculous for us to have so many new laws and changes. And now I'm going to do it like this. Let's see. All right, California, did I do this one? Let's go on the trial. Let's see what the attorney, Dennis Brock, have to say about some of these laws. This is going to be the one that we might need something to look at. And he got a long one. Do y'all want to check it out? Or should we skip it? Oh, no, let's check it out. Fair use. Where's the one with the lawyer?
New year, new laws, the changes impacting your next grocery run. Developing more housing by transit hubs, how soon we could see crews break ground. More transparency on the price of cars, the new protections for people buying used. Preserving California history.
We have 4 million books. We have hundreds of thousands of photographs.
An inside look into the living archive of the state's 175 years and counting.
By bringing it here, it really expands who it's available to in the future. You are playing a part in preserving.
Yeah, people sort of lost the habit, that's the sense, and we need to get back to the original spirit of the law, which was really to bring your reusable bags from home and to reduce waste.
Nate. All right. Yeah, that's a whole show. Feel free to go. That's a whole show right there. That KCRA 3, California Politics. Man, we're going to find something better. I have one with an attorney. I really was trying to figure out what was he trying to say. And it just got away. That was a trip. Oh, there he is. 2026 new laws impacting landlords and relatives. Wow, his is a long one. So, you know, let's see if, oh, this one. Anton Daniel had one. So let me do this. See, think about it. Trip off of this.
California, a proposed ballot measure that would tax the wealthiest people in that state sparked some pretty intense backlash from a place that is rich in cash. We're talking about Silicon Valley. Supporters say the policy could generate billions of dollars and make up for an anticipated budget shortfall in the California healthcare system. However, big tech leaders and billionaires slammed the proposal, arguing it will drive entrepreneurs to just leave California. So let's talk about it live to CBS News senior business and technology correspondent Joe-Ling Kent. Okay, Joe-Ling, they're not getting into our pockets, but is it as easy as this to summarize that this is about taxing the rich in Silicon Valley?
Reed, this is a really fundamental question of how to solve a problem here in California when it comes to healthcare and affordable healthcare. And this is really, if there are enough signatures and this does become a ballot initiative come November, this is driven by a union that is trying to make up what they call a gap in healthcare coverage and costs in the state of California. And the way it would work is California residents worth more than $1 billion would be taxed taxed 5% of their assets
That's a
would be
lot of
taxed
money.
at a rate of
That's a lot of
5%.
money.
Listen.
A lot of money.
Taxation is theft in the worst way. I don't care how you spin it. I don't care who you like. I don't care who you don't like. I don't care if you think that things should be free across the board and you have the right to just go and wastefully use any resource and you should be fed and you should get free water, air, food, shelter, everything. I don't care where you stand on a political spectrum. Taxation is theft. Taxation on unrealized gains is being robbed without a gun.
Wow. So, hey, he said it in the shortest form because it's like, wow, what's the math on that? Because, man, I bet you the math on that is deep. So let's get back to it. New laws in the USA, okay? USA new laws. Let's see. And we got that one out the way. Here's one. This is the last one. This is the last one.
Free quote in 30 seconds.
Tonight, lawmakers across the country are dropping a bombshell batch of 2026 laws. They're taking aim at your phone, your kids' phones, end-of-life options, and yes, your cat's claws. First, an increasing number of states are passing laws to regulate AI, hoping to crack down on deep fakes and protect privacy as the technology spreads. By the start of the new school year, school districts in California and Georgia will have to limit or even ban students' use of cell phones and other personal devices during the school day. New York, Illinois, and Delaware are set to enact laws allowing
We've been saying that for a long
patients
time.
to end their lives with medical assistance under strict safeguards. In California, a new law will prevent most pet owners from declawing their cats, banning the procedure except when a vet says it's absolutely necessary. And finally, my personal favorite as a Californian, a new California law will require tortillas include folic acid intended to help nurture infants. Joining us now is former federal prosecutor Nima Rahmani. Thank you so much for being with us. Happy New Year. As a former federal prosecutor, how do you see these new state AI regulations on deepfakes potentially overlapping with federal laws on fraud or even election interference?
Jessica, thanks for having me. And you're right, really AI is the newest frontier, and oftentimes the law doesn't keep up with technology. I think the challenge that you're going to have is, and we've seen it before, when you see state regulation of technology, you end up having a patchwork system, which doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Really, with something like this, the federal government needs to step in. And I understand that there's concerns with AI, especially when it comes to minors, and there has to be disclosure. And certainly we don't want AI providing legal advice or medical advice that may be incorrect, or even therapy. Obviously, there is benefits. It provides access at little to no cost, but certainly that can be wrong. And we really need the feds to step in as opposed to each state imposing its own regulations. We really want this technology to thrive and flourish.
Right.
So really feel free to go over there and check out the rest of that conversation. I don't want to overplay it, but man, but it's like someone was at my job talking about AI. Want to step in. See, AI, we can insert probably do emotions and stuff in it, and empathy patches or whatever they're doing over there. But could it really go out there and do the outreach necessary? And could it really give a diagnosis of what you're going through? So, man, this has been one of them screams. Happy New Year scream. This been one of them Happy New Year screams. And I mean, like, so I took this balloon last night so we can have a Happy New Year scream. You see, it's a good one. And that was a little update on most of the things that's going to take place this year. And I should have looked up one of them old videos of where it showed the paperwork in reading of what's going on. So feel free to share this video. Do a video of your own. If you looked up some of them bills and policies, let me know. And your boy MC is definitely out. And remember, recovery is inside.